Welcome back. And earlier we've had the chance to talk to Peter Schweitzer, with the author of Clinton Cash, one of the books that just went right to the top of the bestsellers list and exposed the Clintons and all of their financial shenanigans. Well, there's a follow-up now to Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. Peter Schweitzer, Chuck Dixon, and Brett Smith. We have Brett with us today. He's also a professional commercial artist who does a lot with animation, and we want to talk to him about the book. Hi, Brett. How are you, my friend? Oop, you can hear me. I can't hear you. Hold on here. We got one little click. We'll be right with you. Anyway, you may want to check it out. I don't know if we got a picture of the book on the screen. It's pretty colorful, and there's a lot of, there it is. Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. Take a look at it. There's Bill and Hillary throwing money in the air. So anyway, there you are. Hi, Brett. How you doing, friend? Still can't hear you here. Okay, guys, get me a little help here. Let me just say while we're doing that, Rigneri.com is the publisher, and you can check it out. Of course, look for it at Amazon. You can look for it at the bookstores. Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. This is a follow-up to Peter Schweitzer's incredible book on Clinton Cash. Did we have him? Did we have him? Okay. I tell you what, we're going to take a quick break. Sorry about that. Sometimes these things happen. We got partial connection, not full connection. Let me take a quick break, and then we'll come back with a long time with him. And again, it's called Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. And this book also, by the way, has been made into a movie. It's really hit the charts and doing very, very well. We'll be right back.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Okay, we're back, and thanks for your patience. I think we got it all connected here. What a delight to have with us Brett Smith. He's one of the co-authors of Clinton Cash, a graphic novel, which is doing very well, and a follow-up to Peter Schweitzer. We'll talk to him about that. There's a picture of the book on the screen. You may want to check it out at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and get a copy of it. All right, Brett, hi. How are you, bud?
Good. Hey, can you hear me?
Thanks. Yeah, we can. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for your patience. All right. So how did you guys collaborate on this? What was the deal?
It was about a year ago. I actually just emailed Steve Bannon about doing some graphic work for Breitbart. And I wanted to bring some of my 20 years experience working on some of the largest properties and licenses in the known world to Breitbart and see if maybe I could do something for him. And Steve hooked me up with Dan Fluette, who's his co-producer on Generation Zero and The Undefeated and some of the other documentaries like the Clinton Cash documentary that they did recently, the movie. And Dan told me they had the rights, the graphic rights to Peter's book, and I thought that was really interesting. And so I asked him, what do you guys want to do with it? And he said, well, that's why we're talking to you. We need a direction, and we wanted to see what you think. And that's kind of how it started. So, and really, it was just Dan and I kind of sitting around in a hotel lobby for about 2 hours, just spitballing some ideas. And it was then after that, I walked out of there and, had a better idea of who I needed to talk to. And that was really Chuck Dixon. I knew I immediately needed to talk to Chuck. So that's kind of how it started.
All right, so obviously, Peter is part of this collaboration, so everything moved forward. Yeah. What is your main message here for the readers? What do you want your readers to get out of this novel?
Well, we have probably one of the most corrupt candidates of my lifetime running for leader of the free world. And we only get one of those. We only have one of those being the free world. So I want people to read this book and understand who Hillary Clinton is, who Bill is, what the Clinton Foundation is, and really, it's got all of the great stuff that was in Peter's book. We just tell it in kind of a crisp and engaging and new way. And one of the main vehicles of the book is satire and humor. And that was also the commercial through line that I was really looking for when Dan approached me, because I said to myself, how do we reach a wide a swath as, of demographics and readers as possible? And I knew that humor would be the best way to reach all those people, because humor is disarming and makes for strange bedfellows, and who doesn't like to laugh?
Yeah, okay, that's a good approach. All right, so Hillary says they left the White House dead broke, but today the net worth is over 150 million. How did you couch that in humor?
In a lot of ways, and really, we really detail, how that happened and why it happened. And again, everything that was in Peter's book, which is all that exhaustive research and detail, can be, the original book can be kind of dry. And a lot of it is connecting the dots. And sometimes, even when I was reading Peter's original book, I felt like I needed a highlighter. Just to kind of keep track of things. So the way we do it with images, using images as a language with satire and humor and parody and mockery, very similar to what SNL and The Daily Show has done to the right over 40 years. We do the Clintons in this. And you're absolutely right. I mean, to say you're dead broke coming out of the White House and then years later you're worth over $150 million just seems a tad disingenuous. I don't know about you.
Well, I think one of the things that's so stunning about this, all of this has been exposed, right, but there doesn't seem to be any outrage. And one of the things that Peter uncovered for me, and I'm still trying to get my brain around it, is that Hillary approved the transfer of about 20% of the U.S. uranium, and of course that's the stuff that you use in nukes, to Putin.
Right.
And in that exchange, you had some investors come out with millions of dollars. I mean, the foundation ended up being a money laundering company for this deal. I mean, this breaks every rule in the book, and yet all we're doing is talking about it.
Well, at least we're talking about it. And you're right, people really haven't been clued in on this yet. And I'm hoping with our book and the robust sales we've had, people are going to start getting clued into it. It was one of the reasons I was interested in doing this was, how do we get this out to as a massive audience as possible? And, the sales are going well. So I'm hoping that people are learning about not only the uranium, but also her involvement in the Keystone Pipeline and lots of other things. There's all kinds of stuff in this book which have been covered in Peter's past book, but we do it in a way that I think using graphic storytelling and visuals along with all of the data, and we do tell a story. I think those images are going to be burned into people's brains a whole lot longer than any news segment or policy speech or campaign ad. And that's kind of the point of graphic storytelling, is that it can be a very powerful medium if it's used correctly.
Brett, the foundation, the Clinton Foundation, very much in the news over the last 4 or 5 days, from not taking any more contributions between now and the election. If she becomes president, no more foreign money. Maybe Bill shouldn't receive any teaching or speaking fees. I mean, the foundation as a whole is very much in the news. I would assume your book is playing into that scenario and bringing highlight to the foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the day that our book dropped on the 8th, Gilbert Shigori was in the news, as well as the DOJ or the FBI. The news that the FBI wanted to look into the Clinton Foundation, the DOJ turned them down. So I mean, the timing is perfect, and we're really lucky that we were able to get this book done in time, because it was a crunch and it was a pretty quick trigger on the deadline. But we had just amazing talent on the book, incredibly talented guys that have anywhere from 30 to 40 years at Marvel and DC, and it was their expertise, their professionalism, their talents that got this book done and got it done on time. And I think all of this stuff plays into the curiosity factor. I think people are going to start asking questions finally about the Clinton Foundation, and and as most people say, I think most people probably start paying attention to a lot of this stuff like about now, 60 to 90 days before an election. So I'm hoping that people pick up the book and check it out and understand who this woman is.
Is this is a wild question, but is the Clinton Foundation, is it really a Canadian organization?
Is it a Canadian organization?
Yeah.
That might be a Peter question. I know that they have offices in Manhattan.
Well, the only reason I asked that, because Canadian laws allow for money to go through without verification, and somebody said that Therefore, its origin is in Canada. I thought, well, now that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that one that I haven't heard. I do know that the corporate offices are in Manhattan, so I'm not exactly sure how that works. But people keep talking about foreign money, and as I recall, the Clintons did the same thing they're doing globally now. They only but they did it when they were in the White House. It was called the Lincoln Bedroom, and that didn't stop them from doing business with people like Charlie Tree. And renting out the Lincoln Bedroom to donors, in exchange for influence. Really, once the Clintons left the White House, the shackles were really lifted, and they were able to do the Lincoln Bedroom on a global scale. So I just find the whole thing kind of disingenuous that they're going to stop taking foreign donations. Bill's going to step down. All of that means that Peter and I and our efforts have been successful, because there's no way this bill would be giving up all of this, he's been able to amass as far as his wealth, just because she's going to get elected president.
Question about it. Thank you guys for your work. It's also been said that one of the reasons that this continues to go away, in other words, it doesn't really get traction in the American forefront, is there's a lot of United States corporations involved, and their hypocrisy would be exposed. Is that true?
Absolutely. I think without a doubt. So, and there's some ties in Haiti to some large retail outfits, and like Walmart and Target and the Gap. Again, all of this is in Peter's book. All of the details and the exhaustive research is in there, and it's pretty damning.
What about what's the deal with the Keystone Pipeline? What happened there?
We get into that in the book, and a lot of it is just kind of Hillary sort of playing the fence. Bill was always for it, and Hillary was kind of we have a great panel where she's being tugged in two directions, and she has an environmentalist on one arm that's pulling her, and then she also has one of the guys who'd be working on the pipeline pulling in her on her arm, and It's one of those things where if it's in their interests, they're obviously interested in it. And for a while, she was for it, and then she wasn't for it. So people are going to have to pick up the book and read it, because we do some really fun stuff with Keystone Pipeline as far as imagery and visuals. It's a good time.
How do you handle the nepotism connection with the foundation? You got Chelsea and her brother, and I don't know, is there any aunts and uncles and anybody else involved?
Chelsea, I know for sure, and then you've also got Hillary's brother, who scored a extremely rare gold mining permit after the Haitian earthquake, and after the Clintons went into Haiti, promising to do all kinds of good things, like build 5,000 to 6,000 new homes and bring in infrastructure and roads. And I know her brother ended up, with a pretty sweet deal on like I said, a very rare gold mining permit, which is almost impossible to get in Haiti. So and the Haitians aren't really that much better off after the Clintons, came in and made all their promises, which is really very sad.
Let me fast forward just for a minute, Brett. I guess this would be somewhat of an opinion from you, but let's say Hillary doesn't become president, and she's now out of power. What happens to the foundation?
I would say it's business as usual. I mean,
really?
Why stop a good thing?
Yeah, but why would companies invest into her if she has not in a position to make anything happen?
Well, that's true. I mean, she does sell influence, and it'll be interesting to see, if she doesn't win, what does she do, and where does she go, and how do they, kind of parlay that influence into something else? I don't know. All I know is these people are like the ultimate survivors. I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, so I remember impeachment. I remember Lewinsky. It was actually, ironically, one of the things that got me interested in politics in my early 20s. And they never seem to go away. They're like Twinkies, after a nuclear explosion. They're like the only thing that'll be left. But they'll figure a way, how to work it. They always do.
We laugh, but this is serious corruption. Serious corruption.
It is, and that's kind of one of the interesting, the juxtapositions in the book is that although we do tell a very funny and satirical story, and we use humor to kind of rope people in, and we have beautiful visuals that are also very funny, at the same time, you've also got really serious subject matter and incredible corruption and graft and dishonesty. And so those kind of yin and yangs were really interesting. And again, it was kind of my vision for the book to have that juxtaposition, because I think that it's really powerful.
Do you see any connection between the foundation and the State Department when she was Secretary of State? We've heard some rumors here. We've heard some deals here. Can you verify any of that?
Well, I know Huma was wearing all kinds of hats while she was at the Secretary of State, and was working for the foundation as well as working for Hillary. So there's definitely some strange comminglings of people and positions. And also, something else we document in the book is how, not only Hillary, but Bill's speaking fees, basically just skyrocketed to the moon as her profile was raised over the years, from senator to Secretary of State. So, I mean, those type of things, there's, as Peter would say, there's no smoking gun. And there isn't. Peter's book was to establish a pattern of activity so people could connect the dots and understand what these people are doing, because they're so well insulated. It's kind of like, pardon me, it's kind of like Carmela and Tony Soprano. They're always insulated by their capos, their captains. So you've got Silvio Dante and Polly Walnuts, which are basically interchangeable for Sid Blumenthal, Cheryl Mills. I mean, these people insulate the Clintons and they protect them. So I don't think there's anything necessarily, there's no smoking gun, but our book retells and captures that pattern visually. And I think that was really important. And I think it's helping people understand, and also making it more accessible, and also I think people retain it better.
We're talking to Brett Smith. He's one of the co-authors of Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. And there's a picture of it there on the screen, kind of a cartoon caricature of Hillary and Bill throwing money in the air. You may want to check it out at the bookstores, Barnes & Noble, or online at Amazon. It's doing extremely well, and taking on the whole Clinton Cash book that Peter Schweitzer did earlier, and putting it in a little bit more digestible form with a little humor mixed in and satire, but the message is clear. I would recommend getting a copy. It staggers you. Here's the thing about this whole thing that just got me on tilt. We all know it, and nothing's being done. So other than her buddies protecting her, it appears that the media and the DOJ's in on it.
The media is definitely protecting her. I haven't been around a whole. I'm about to turn 40, so I haven't been around a whole, really a whole long time. But I've never seen a candidate just insulated like this from the media. 300 days without a press conference, and all of this information now coming out about the foundation. I understand why. I understand now why she hasn't done a press conference, probably to avoid questions about this.
It appears it is accumulating in a trust factor, and a trust issue with her. She was ahead of Trump 10 points. He changes his tone, and in 4 days, he's ahead by 2. Does that tell you anything?
I think Trump's had this plan the whole time. I really do. I think that this just shows once again that the private sector can run rings around people in Washington. And I think this was Trump's plan all along. I think that he's been waiting to get, to finally rally his troops. And like anything, you can't keep people cranked up for too long. So I think we can expect basically a blitzkrieg out of Trump at this point over the next 60 days. And he's not only going to tighten up his speeches and his messaging, everything. I think at this point, it's, they are going full speed ahead, pedal to the metal.
Back to the DOJ, it appears there is an unusual protection from the DOJ to the Clinton and the Clinton Foundation. I mean, when Comey came out and basically said she's guilty, but she didn't intend to, I mean, that's an area that's none of his business, but he went there. So there's something going on behind the scenes. I don't know if it's threats or whatever, but what do you think it may be?
I never expected the FBI to get in the middle of an election. I think Comey did as much as he could, and as much as not only he was comfortable doing, but also probably as much as the FBI was comfortable doing. Because I've never seen the FBI ever get involved in an election and take down, a presumptive nominee or even a nominee. So I think, everybody's, I like everybody else, wish that Comey went further, but at the same time, he's a government employee, and lawyers don't rat out on other lawyers. Doctors don't rat out on other doctors. I think, government employees, or there's probably some, some kind of pact there. But he did as much as he could. I think it was a gift to not only Trump, but our side. So I can't really criticize him all too much. I think he did as much as he was comfortable doing.
Said, taking the route that he did, he keeps the information flowing publicly. Had he gone to a recommendation, that all of this would then have been put into silence because it would be investigation material and they couldn't talk about it. So in some ways, he's done us a favor by taking the road that he did. Would you agree?
I do. Right. Yeah, very much.
All right. So do you think the Clinton Foundation long-term can survive?
I think it'll definitely do well as long as they stay in politics and stay in the public eye. Because that's kind of what's always fueled it. So their access to influence and powerful people. So it kind of feeds on itself. So and also she took, what is it? All of her charitable donations and funneled it back into the Clinton Foundation. So that's a pretty good deal. Who wouldn't want to keep that going?
Well, they gave themselves $18 million. How'd they get away with that one?
That's fabulous. I need one of these foundations. Everybody does.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So why do you think the Democrats blindly are supporting a regime as crooked as this?
When have they ever not? They're complete collectivists. They walk in lockstep groupthink. Everything they say is an echo chamber. Everything they say is basically a cliche, a platitude, or a straw man argument. Liberals are like intellectually the most vacuous people on the planet. So if they're going to, but to their credit, they always support the nominee. And that's why I take issue with a lot of never Trumpers. Yeah. So we could use a little bit of that enthusiasm that they have on their side.
Being 39, 40 years old, how'd you become a conservative?
In a lot of ways, I was kind of like Andrew Breitbart. I was kind of a liberal by default. I like the Churchill quote that if you're not a liberal by 25, you got no heart, and if you're not a conservative by 40, you have no brains. And I like to take it even further and say if you're not some form of a small L libertarian, maybe by, 50, then there's probably no hope for you whatsoever. But impeachment, in a lot of ways, got me interested in politics, and it also kind of started me down the road towards conservatism because I said to myself, I don't really care about a president getting something on the side. I mean, men stepping out and cheating on their wives or having mistresses is like, that's probably mentioned in the Bible somewhere. That is the oldest story since time and inception. But when you're doing it on the job and in your office, I just thought to myself, and I was 18 or 19 at the time, and I thought to myself, wow, anybody else would get fired, and they should be. There's a time and a place for that, and that's not it, especially when Yasser Arafat is hanging out in the hallway. It's not good.
All right, so back to the book, Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. Again, tell our viewers and listeners what you want them to get from this book, because it's Clinton Cash done in somewhat of satire, right?
Yeah, I'm a big believer that the medium is the message, and I think that societies and cultures are shaped more by way of the medium rather than necessarily the message. And I wanted to show that graphic storytelling could tell this story in a more accessible way, and one of the ways we did it was, like I said, was with humor, but moreover, I really wanted to try something different. And we have, on the right, we have great ideas and we have great policy. And I think we just need a better way of communicating it.
Well, Brett, you're a delight. Thank you, my friend. Keep up the good work. And thank you for you and your team with Chuck and Peter, what you guys have done and the service you're providing. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate it.
All right, talk to you again soon. And again, it's called Clinton Cash, a graphic novel. You may want to check it out at the bookstores. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.